Today's topic is how we use Zoho Forms to optimize our CRM. And I love this because it's one of those things that people think they can replace it with simpler forms, but Zoho Forms is such a powerful platform, and I want you to know what the things are that are useful. So the big question that we're trying to answer here is, are you certain that the CRM, your CRM, has the latest information on all of your prospects and clients? And I do mean the latest information. Or are you just chasing down updates? So that's what we're going to address today. If you don't already know me, my name is Candace Doriso. I am the owner of Beckman Collaborative. I have a long history in marketing and sales, starting with performing arts marketing and all the way up into now, I guess, high-tech marketing things, and became a Zoho partner many years ago, and I'm certified in lots of different apps because, well, it's fun. So here are the things I want you to know about how you can better leverage Zoho Forms. I cannot cover every single feature of Zoho Forms, but these are the ones I want to touch upon today because I think they are the most underrated and least utilized, but they should be better used. And so that includes the 3 different forms of pre-fill URLs, the Zoho CRM field, and how you can use rules at the field, form, and even page level. But first, we have to connect your Zoho Forms with Zoho CRM. So I'm going to show you that in the actual app, but this is kind of your quick checklist. You're going to go into the CRM and go to Marketplace. We're going to find Zoho Forms and turn on pre-population. So let's do that now. So if you are in Zoho CRM, now I'm in CRM for everyone. If you're in the old version, so to speak, of Zoho CRM, Marketplace will not be an app over here. It will be under your cog. But either way, you're going to either go to Setup or the Marketplace app here. In the Marketplace, I want you to look for Zoho and scroll on down to Zoho Forms. Now mine says Manage because I already have it turned on. But if I didn't have this turned on, all you have to do is so simple, just turn it on. Now, what this means is that you can now, using this integration, pre-populate a form with data that's in your CRM. And that's called the Zoho CRM integration and the CRM field. So I'll get to that in just a minute. First, I want to talk about the pre-population of URLs. Let's go back to this list because I want you to understand how we use it. For the field alias and static pre-fill URLs, and yes, I will go back to Zoho Forms in a minute, there are 2 probably really common use cases I've seen for it. One is the marketing use case, where you want to have unique URLs for, let's say, each marketing channel or each ad campaign. If you're in marketing, you've probably heard of like UTM parameters. This could be UTM parameters plus. It's an attempt to better track all the things that you're doing. And then the operations side, this one's a little bit of a stretch in my mind, but some people will use it this way. Let's say you've closed a deal, you're on the sales team, and now you have this handoff process with your operations team. Well, you can use the field alias to populate the form with data from that deal so that the ops team can now take that form, fill in their part of the process, and submit it and follow whatever their process is. So let's now look at field alias. Actually, one more thing. The other one is called dynamic pre-fills. So I want to show you all 3 pre-fills kind of at once. Dynamic pre-fills are very similar, same use cases. The difference is you're going to use a webhook to fetch data from some external application. So this could be, maybe you offer online courses, or you have an inventory database, or a finance system, or maybe an order status database, and it's not in the Zoho world. Then you can use a webhook to grab data from there, and the user can use that CRM field to search for their order or for their name, etc., and populate the form. So let's look at pre-fills. So let's go first to Zoho Forms home. When you're first in Zoho Forms, I just deleted this, so forms.zoho.com, it will take you to a home screen with any forms you've already created. If you've never created a form, this will be blank, and that's okay. So you're going to create a new form. And what's really nice is they've given you a lot of options. You can create a blank form from scratch. There's the AI forms, which are okay. That's very new. They have form templates, which can be handy if you're not sure what fields you want. CRM forms just means it will capture all the required fields in that module for you. It just kind of saves you a little bit of a step. And then PDF to form, exactly what it sounds like. If you have a PDF that looks like a form, it's going to try to scrape that PDF and generate the form for you. For the sake of simplicity, let's just make a blank form. So we'll call this my webinar form. Standard versus card is just the way it's displayed. So you can kind of see the visual of what it looks like. So now I'm in my Zoho form. Like any other form builder, this is drag and drop. I can add name, I can add an email address, etc. And now I actually am going to go ahead and I'm going to add, let's make this for my leads. Let's say this is my marketing campaign. Lead source, and this is not going to be a text field. I don't know why I just did a text field. That was really dumb. I'm going to make this a pick list field because that's what I would have in my CRM, and I want it to match what's in my CRM. How did you hear about us? Or just call it lead source. Now, here's the cool thing, is if you don't want to ask the question, how did you hear about us? If this is using your pre-fill URL, then you want this to be a hidden field. So I'll just put like Facebook, LinkedIn, networking event, etc. Whatever your different channels are that you may be using. I'm going to make it mandatory, and I'm going to hide the field. I love this feature that you can hide fields that are secretly capturing information for you. So I put this form out in the world. Maybe I post it on Facebook or something and say, fill out this form if you want to get my freebie, whatever that is. Now I can go into my settings. And in this section called pre-fill, it is very easy to do this. I come up with a field alias. It's just a nickname, right? That's all a field alias is. I choose what field it is, lead source. And for sake simplicity, maybe I want to do SRC, because remember, they might notice this in their URL. So you don't want to say like lead source maybe. Maybe you just want shorthand. So now I generate my pre-fill URL. Oh, I probably should hit save first. That'd be logical. I generate my pre-fill. Now I have a URL that I can come up with a field value to pre-populate it. So if I'm going to use this on Facebook, boom, SRC equals Facebook. If I'm going to use this on LinkedIn, boom, SRC equals LinkedIn. So I'm going to grab that URL. Awesome. Now, one of the things that I had a gripe about with this was that it wasn't saved in a list right here. But that's what the static pre-fill URL is. So let's configure that. Same thing. Lead source. Lead source. Facebook. And here's the extra cool part. Let's say it's Facebook and maybe I'm doing an ad campaign. Well, now I can add other things. I can add the referrer name, put that stuff in. Oh, I don't have all that set up in this account. I apologize. Normally you can add the campaign stuff, like my campaign name, but right now it's only pulling from what's in the form. So generate my pre-fill. I'll just get rid of this for now. And now it's just in this list. So I can always come back here and know that this is the Facebook one. In fact, I should have named it lead source Facebook. So you can now have all these URLs. You'll be able to report on them. Crazy simple. Dynamic pre-fill, same idea. I'm not going to configure a webhook right now on this call because that takes many steps, but it would still be the same idea. Lead source. I put in a webhook URL. If you're familiar with webhooks, this is very straightforward for you. You usually have the record identifier. You're going to just follow through this wizard and map it the way you want it. It's going to have the same functionality. It's just calling to a third-party system. So I'm going to pause for a second there and see if you guys have any questions. Are there any questions about pre-fill URLs? I think that's fairly straightforward. Okay, I will continue this adventure. So back to our presentation. Using the Zoho CRM field. Now this is a field that when I first discovered it, was the most excited about, because the idea of pre-populating a form to make the user experience better is just like double thumbs up to the marketer in me. When you can pre-populate the form with somebody's name or email address or their interests, whatever fields you have, it just makes everything smoother. So the use case I'm referencing here is, and you'll probably see this, if you're one of my clients, I'll probably send you this email in a few weeks. In preparation for the holidays, I want to make sure I have the correct mailing address for you. So I'm going to send you a pre-populated form that says, can you just double check your information? And it's a great opportunity for, let's say, your customers to update their mailing address, or maybe they got married and they have a new last name, or maybe they have a new title. You get them to do the work for you. When they hit submit, it's going to update the CRM for you. So let's look at how you do that. Back to my builder. So in this builder, I really no longer need my lead source, so let's get rid of that. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and there's this, under advanced, you're going to see Zoho CRM. Boom. Again, I can make this a hidden field, but let's say I'm going to do it for my contacts. So first of all is you have to pick which module you're mapping to. Zoho Forms, when you're syncing with Zoho CRM, is unique to each module. So if you want to use the same form for both leads and contacts, you really have to copy the form if you want data to sync back to it. So you can make like webinar form contacts, webinar form leads. And I have multiple layouts in this demo account. Here's my standard one. And now it's asking, what is the search field? Since I'm going to make this a pre-populated form, I'm going to use email address. But now I also get to say, all right, after I've used email as my unique identifier, what other fields do I want to populate? Well, I want to populate first name with first name, right? So I'm just matching. What is the field in CRM? What is the field in Forms? Same idea with last name. Really simple, straightforward. Last name. I don't have anything else, but where I have the single line text, maybe I'll make that my street. Mailing street, single line. So I can do all that. I can even rename this. Address, street. And now I can, just like I did before with lead source, oops, I can click the cog. I can make this a hidden field. So when I go to access the form, right, you don't see that Zoho CRM field. You just see name, email, and street address. So if I go into the CRM, here's where that pre-population comes in handy. You're going to go to your setup, and under templates, which is email templates, exactly what it sounds like. And I've got a million of these, so let's make one up. Look, there's my feedback form. I guess I must test this out for a lot of people. Please fill out this form at your convenience to confirm your mailing address. And here is the cool thing. So by default, you see web URL, but click this dropdown because now you have Zoho Forms. And any form where you have used that Zoho CRM lookup field will show up in this list. Here's my webinar form. I could say, fill out this form, and this will be my hyperlinked text. Beautiful. I click save, updated the form. I'll also point out that when you update email templates in Zoho CRM, they always have version control. I don't recommend putting nonsense in this. Put actually what you updated because this is for your purposes. So I've updated my email template, the test email. It's for my contacts. So I'm going to go to the contacts module. I think I'm in here somewhere. Here I am. And I'm going to send an email to Candace. There's my email, the same one we just looked at. I click send. I don't even have to go to my email inbox. I'm just going to go right here. And I'm going to view that email. So the email that Candace just got in her inbox has this link. When she clicks this link, did I not have an email address? Oh, I didn't map the email address. That's my fault. I didn't map the email address. That's kind of funny. In the Zoho form, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I only mapped first name, last name, and street. I didn't map the email address. That's kind of funny. But what's better is now it works. So I can put in my street, 123, street name, and I submit. Ta-da! And I wait, I don't know, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and the data from Zoho Forms is now going to sync over to Zoho CRM and populate my mailing street, although it's taking a minute. And if I'm unsure, I can see it in my timeline. Yeah, it hasn't synced yet. Still doing its thing. But that's the whole point of the pre-population, right? So I've populated the form. Oh, did I integrate the form yet? No. I'm so excited to tell you guys about these features. I forgot the most important step, integration. So let's talk about the integration from Forms back to CRM. I did the front end and not the back end. So Zoho CRM, is this going to be a new record, an updated record, a related list? In this case, I'm only updating records, but you should know that if I pick new record, I can also choose to update records. So let's do that one more time. Standard. The only required field in my test account is last name, first name, email address, and there's the street, right? And if I wanted to, I could even add like a manual input. Maybe it's, let's see, what we got a good field for this. Maybe I have some field called description, and I want to put manual input, submitted the webinar form. Beautiful. And that's like the person didn't have to put that in. I just put that in the integration. They do have lookup mapping. We can talk about that in some other time, but that's as in the lookup field, like look for the account. I'm going to always check the box for automation. If I wanted to have a PDF attached, I could check this box, but I don't have one. Upsert is the important one. So upsert means add these as new records unless they already exist. And I want you to update or upsert them based on an existing email address. But I do not want you to overwrite existing field values with empty fields. You can also tag records, similarly to what I did with the description. Integrate. Now the integration is actually set up. So if Candace fills out this form one more time, one, two, three, my favorite street. There's my thank you. I can refresh the CRM. Zoho, you're making me look bad. There it goes. Oh, it's showing up though. That's interesting. Showing up in my timeline, but not here. Oh, there it is. I'm just being impatient. My favorite street. So now we've updated records. We've put it actually on the client to make sure their information is up to date. Fantastic. Make your life easier. So the last one I want to talk about are Zoho Form rules. So there are kind of 4 kinds of rules: field rules, form rules, page rules, and then denying submissions. So field rules is something like, if they answered this question this way, then do this other thing. So the example I like to use is, if they say, how did you hear about us? Oh, it was a client referral. Then reveal this other field that says, well, who was it? Otherwise, you want to hide that field because it would be confusing. A form rule would be something like, maybe you have a, what services are you interested in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They pick X, and because they picked X, you send them some corresponding email that makes more sense. Whereas if they had chosen service Y, you might want to send them a different confirmation email. And page rules only applies when you have multiple pages on your form. Maybe you have, if you were a commercial loan person and you had a 5-page form. But if on page 1, the person said, I do not need information about getting land, then you would skip the page that's all about getting land. Hopefully that makes sense. And the last one, deny submissions. I actually use this the most for filtering out the junk. So if you start seeing people submitting junk into your forms, maybe it's a really common word or phrase that they're using in certain fields, you can just say, if somebody puts, I don't know, facebook.com into the company name field, deny their submission. It's almost like marking them as junk. So let's look at those form rules really quick. You'll see it right here, right next to the builder's rules. And here are field rules, and then choice-based field rules, very similar. And I probably need more rules than what we have here. With that, I need another field for us to kind of play with. We need maybe a drop down. Interested in A, B, or C. We can add another page. Where's my page break? Page break. And I've got page 2. This is basics maybe, and this is more info. Maybe this is where I want to put a date field. I'm going to make this up. Best day to call. And you can get really fancy with this, where you can autofill the date of today's response. You can say which days of the week are allowed. You can make it mandatory. You can say it's only future dates. There's a lot of cool things you can do with the date fields. So now that we've got 2 pages and we got some things to work with, I can make a rule around it. So if interested in is A, then show the best day to call, because that's the only other field I made that follows it. Or maybe I want to set it as mandatory. Make the best day to call a mandatory field. So there's a lot of cool ways you can slice and dice this. Like if I'm interested in service A, well then I need to know the best day to call you. And similarly for form rules, I can say interested in B. Then I can have a different redirect page instead of the plain old thank you page. I can send a unique email. I can send a text message. I can even push a notification to mobile, but you have to, these bottom 2, you have to make sure you set up in advance. The simplest are the redirect, or you could have your own URL in here, of course, or you can make a unique thank you page. Thank you for your interest in service B. So now it's more of a unique customer experience because they pick, B on this thank you page. You can give them more specific information. You can also send them their own unique email, etc. So that just completely changes the user experience of filling out this form, because now you maybe have pre-populated it with information about them. You've customized it based on their answers. So you're just going to get an overall better user experience. And then page rules. Oh, yeah, I only made 2 pages. I can make a 3rd page if you want, but it's the same idea of, skip this page, go to that page. My page break. Maybe I'm going to add their signature. So if I'm a more info, the best day to call, let's say, is not empty. Let's go with that. Not empty. Then skip to the last page. Now that doesn't really make sense because the way I set this up, but that's okay. The point is that you can skip pages when something does not align with what you need them to answer. And like I said, denying submissions is probably my favorite one. You know, skip junk. So when the name contains, I don't know, facebook.com. And you can even say with the now messages, we do not accept solicitations. And yes, I definitely have this on my own forms because I get a lot of annoying bot to have. So these are really helpful ways to just make your Zoho Forms a better user experience, push good data to your CRM, because this deny submissions is a perfect example. It won't even submit it and have it be an entry. It'll just completely skip it and not allow it. So those are the things I wanted to cover in today. Really, what my question for you is like, are your business decisions being made on data that you hope is accurate? Or is it data that you've automated in such a way that you know is correct? And with that, I'm going to pause and see what questions, comments, to share a link not using Zoho email. You would share, all right, so the Zoho email is when you're sending it and you want it to be connected to your existing records. You can use a Zoho form link, like those pre-fill URL links, those are just links. But you have to keep in mind that if it's somebody who's already in your CRM and they enter a completely different email address, that being your unique identifier, then you're going to have probably duplicate entries. And that is one thing I can show you that I did not talk about, was the importance of unique data. So in Zoho CRM, one of the last things I want to point out is make sure under your customization, modules and fields, and most of you probably already have this set up, especially if you've ever worked with me before, in both leads and contacts, I want you to make sure that you have, it should say the word unique here next to email. That is your unique identifier for that record. Do not allow duplicate values. And if you're not sure where it's looking, by default, mine is set up to look at contacts. You can also have it look at converted leads, but all converted leads become contacts. So I always recommend having it check contacts. That is a great way to avoid creating duplicates. Just keep in mind, like I said, that if you send a Zoho form out to people and you have that integration with Zoho CRM set up, and they put in a completely different email address, it may create a little bit of confusion. Just be prepared for that. But having this field set up to be unique will be very important. Anything else? Okay. Well, thank you all. Do feel free. I will send out the recording. Feel free to email me if you have specific Zoho Forms questions. Next week, we're doing a user group where we're talking about the top 5 apps to connect with your Zoho CRM. Have a great day, and thank you for joining me.